Guys, welcome back to another episode of Something Super Podcast. I'm Steve.
And I'm Mark.
So this week we wanted to talk to you guys about some big news coming from Disney Plus, and I guess just Disney in general. So Mark and I are going to start with the Star Wars franchise, and then we're going to hop into Marvel after that. So one of the big things that we've seen, obviously, for all of you that watched The Mandalorian, was 2 weeks ago. We got the huge reveal, Ahsoka Tano. And now she's getting her own spin-off series. So I'm definitely excited for that. What are your thoughts on that?
So I just got done watching basically the full panel with they announced everything. And I just want to start off by saying like the Mandalorian theme, just the theme song was playing in the background for like 5 minutes and I was completely okay with it. Like that shit's the bomb. But no, yeah. As far as there's Ahsoka and then Andor, which are the two of the TV shows. The Ahsoka series, I kind of figured they weren't going to have her take the spotlight from Mando and have her be like part of the team. Because obviously he's a very, like the Mandalorian, it's more like a cowboy team up kind of a TV show. Like, oh, I'm going to put this band of ragtags together and we're going to go accomplish this mission.
Yeah,
and I feel like Ahsoka... Right. Like, I feel like Ahsoka would pull away from that. So I like that they're giving her her own series, but I'm just curious what they're going to, how they're going to continue on with her character development.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess it would have to be like the post Star Wars Rebels Ahsoka Tano.
That's the vibe that I'm getting because they did say that we're going to get to it, but the Kenobi series is 10 years after Revenge of the Sith. So yes. Rebels, well, Clone Wars ends at Order 66, so then it goes into Revenge of the Sith episode 3. So my guess would be it would have to be sometime within the original trilogy timeline, if not after.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, speaking of Kenobi, obviously we have Ewan McGregor. That's huge, bringing him back. And then, the big bad, Hayden Christensen. I am excited to see them on screen together again. That was a huge reveal. Obviously, him as Darth Vader, the dead Anakin Skywalker. And I mean, although the original 3 were not the greatest movies ever, I think those two, their lightsaber battles, their on-screen, sort of duo, I loved it. And I want to see how they sort of expand on that, obviously, past Clone Wars.
Here's Mark's hot take, because I personally think that Revenge of the Sith is possibly the best Star Wars movie out of all of them, in my personal opinion. Simply because you see the dynamic of Obi-Wan and Anakin, which I love. So the fact that they're bringing Hayden back and he's going to have a better writer and a better team around him, I really feel like he gets way too much slack for how he portrayed Vader for that little bit of time in the Revenge of the Sith. So I feel like this is kind of a do-over for him, and I feel like he can really take this role and do it well, because obviously you see Anakin's development through the Clone Wars TV series. Like you keep, like you learn. So now, if that stays canon, there's a lot to reference for them to have, depending on what they choose to do. Like if they do flashbacks, there's a lot of things that they can do with flashbacks because there's so much reference material now, which is awesome.
Oh, absolutely. And if Disney Plus, is doing anything right with The Mandalorian, it is adding lore from Clone Wars, from Knights of the Old Republic, from the things that aren't just the Star Wars movies, the things we've been force-fed for the past, 40 years. So hopefully, like you said, they stay canon. They pick and choose the things from the Clone Wars, from maybe Rebels that they really liked, flashback to the original 3. Like, that would be awesome. And, I don't disagree with saying that Revenge of the Sith might be one of the best. My only concern is that Disney sort of, I don't want to say shit on Star Wars because I feel like that's a little much, but shit on Star Wars might be the best description for it. They really sort of did their own thing and it didn't exactly work. Would be the easiest way for me to put it, honestly.
Well, we actually covered that when we did talk about the Mandalorian and all that. But no, I agree. And they're actually, I feel like they're using these TV series and like the Mandalorian and these all like series to erase 7, 8, and 9.
Yeah,
I That's
they,
what I'm thinking.
they definitely need to.
Like that's what I'm thinking. But yeah, speaking of Clone Wars, though, the Bad Batch got their own spinoff series. They were probably now I didn't see all of Rebels, so I don't know if they make a comeback, but I know they were only in like an episode or two of Clone Wars.
But even still, that's, something that, again, it's going to be an animated series. It's going to be something that is an extension of Clone Wars, very similar to like maybe the Ahsoka show. So again, I like the fact that they're taking those things that people watched either as kids or, as adults, and had that deeper connection with Star Wars and sort of expanding on that. Because what it's doing is, if you fell off for a little bit, maybe the Disney Star Wars movies, the trilogy put a bad taste in your mouth, this is sort of reeling you back in. I know The Mandalorian, for me, really brought me back to, like, this is what Star Wars is. This is what Star Wars should be. Yes, it is a very, spaghetti Western in space, but it has, the original stuff. I mean, hell, last week's episode was phenomenal. The episode prior to that, I don't want to put out too many spoilers for those of you that haven't watched them yet, but I mean, we're really getting back to basics here, and I love it.
Yeah, like I mean, I know when I was younger, I would get like giddy like a kid on Christmas. I would get like the little hair standing up and get like actually excited when new Star Wars stuff was coming out, like when Revenge of the Sith dropped, when Rogue. Like honestly, the one thing Star or Disney did well was Rogue One. That was very well done. But like, I watched episode 7, and I was like, I was hyped because I was like, okay, this is the first one. And then the way they ended, I was like, oh, okay. And then episode 8 came out. I was like, okay, they can really do something great. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then like episode 9, literally, I think I just watched it like a month ago because I just didn't care. But like, I really feel like these little mini series, because what they're doing is they're pandering to their entire audience.
Mm-hmm.
If you grew up watching the original trilogy, there's people that you can see in the other shows. We got Boba Fett back in the Mandalorian, like so, like the older people that saw the original trilogy, like they can relate to it. We got the Bad Batch, so that's kind of like your Clone Wars, kind of like your more mature kid show. But yeah, I'm excited. So they announced a Lando show.
Yes, and that is something I wanted to touch on. I'm curious as to who they're going to cast as Lando Calrissian. Now, Donald Glover, I think he played him very well in Solo, so I'd like to see him come back. I mean, I love Donald Glover as an actor. For most of you that have watched it, Community was a great show. He left, season 5, but still, his time on that show was phenomenal. So I would like to see him reprise his role as Lando Calrissian in the Lando show. That's an early development right now. So we do have a lot to, I guess, await in seeing what they're going to do with that.
Yeah, see, for me, I don't know what it is. Lando never did it for me. I didn't like his character in the original trilogy. I haven't even seen the Han Solo film just because all the other films, as we alluded to, are such trash that I just didn't find time. I know the whole end reveal of a certain red character that they're teasing coming back. But for me, that's one that I honestly probably won't even. I might watch an episode or two, check it out, but I'm more excited for Kenobi, Andor, and Ahsoka over the Lando.
I mean, I'm definitely more excited for the more commonly known characters that have their own TV shows and series. I'm not against the Lando series, like you said. I'm kind of like all right, I'll watch an episode or two, see if it draws me in. If not, oh well, I can write that one off because he wasn't one of those characters that I needed in the series, whether he was there or not. Obviously, he played an integral part, but still, for me, it was kind of like meh. And I know you had mentioned Rogue One. So, Andor is a series that's going to sort of spin off of that about Cassian, which I think is awesome. I know there's not a ton of information about it right now, and that can be said about a lot of the series. Obviously, we have our speculations, we have our, fan theories, but I'm waiting for Disney to really drop those bombs.
I literally was just about to say I think it's a prequel, and then I remember that everybody died at the end of at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah.
Literally, I was like, it's a prequel. Wow, I'm an idiot. Fuck. But no, yeah. So that to me, I believe they said that the direct guy who directed the Bourne series is actually doing that series, if I'm not mistaken. Which, if that's the case, it's going to be good because I mean,
Oh,
it's a
absolutely.
spy thriller in space. Like,
Yes. And then,
yeah,
speaking of thrillers, we also have Acolyte in the shoot, which is sort of like a mystery thriller to kind of get into the dark side powers and things of that nature, which I think would be super cool. I don't know who they're going to use as the, quote unquote acolyte in the series, but I think that's something that a lot of people, we all know the basic force choke, lightning, etc. We see what the powers are, but I really want to like sort of dive into it and get that real dark side feel. Don't get me wrong. I'm all about the good guys winning, but I wouldn't mind seeing a bad guy sort of rise to the top once in a while.
yeah. I mean, honestly, the Accolade I'm really excited for, and then the other one that what they ended on was Rogue Squadron,
Yes, a feature
and
movie.
that's going to be directed by the woman that did Wonder Woman,
Okay.
which phenomenal movie. So for me, Rogue Squadron, I mean, I got to do some digging and look into it, but I really feel like that could be a really, really good, like, under the radar kind of a show or movie. I'm not sure which it is. I
It's
forget. I think
actually a
it's
feature movie, which is super cool.
right.
Again, I don't know a ton about it right now. I only know what they've released as of late, but again, it's one of those things that you really can look forward to. And jumping off of Rogue Squadron, Rangers of the New Republic, which I would love to see Cara Dune in, Gina Carano. Like, not only is she a badass former UFC fighter, she is a fucking badass actress and her character, she plays phenomenally. Like, she is proof that not all Disney princesses wear a size 0 and can punch you in the fucking throat. Like 110%, she will beat your ass, and I love it.
Yeah, dude. Like, there's a lot of good coming. And speaking of a lot of good coming, Marvel just did their full panel and released their Phase 4 as well. So let's hop on over there. So first thing that they announced was we have a date finally for WandaVision,
Yes.
January 25th, I believe.
Which, hell, is like a month and, a week and a half away. I mean, we're talking, it's coming up. I'm excited. What I love about the series thus far, again, we talked about it in the previous episode, like, it really doesn't give you too much about the show. It's, oh, it's set in the 1950s. Oh, and now it's set in present day. Oh, now it's black and white. Like, they jump all over the place, but they never really say, like, this is the show. They're leaving a lot to guessing and fan theory. And I think that's what they wanted. They wanted to build that sort of, on the edge of your seat tension building up to that show.
Well, funny story. I have a fan theory. After seeing the newest trailer, yeah. So here's what I'm thinking. So Kevin Feige said something along the lines of WandaVision will tie into the other universes of shows coming out. So we know that there's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
So what my theory is either one, the change that's constantly happening, going from like 50s TV show to in color action to whatever, like you said, how it jumps around. Either one, those are all different universes that are being affected somehow by whatever's going on in the Doctor Strange movie. Or what I think is that Wanda is actually in possibly like a psych ward or something like that.
Okay.
And she's actually in her own, or like she was pretty much captured, I would say, by like the government, because when it goes live, it looks like they're fighting military people, but it's Marvel, so that could literally be Hive, that could be so many other,
Yeah,
could be
I mean,
Hydra,
I was to say that the infiltrated shield.
like it could be anything. And so the fact that Wanda Maximoff has ties to Hydra and testing and things like that. Because if you remember when they introduced her and her brother, they're sitting in like the cubes,
Yep.
and she's literally just staring at her hands using her power. So I'm thinking that either one, she's meditating right now, and that's how she's keeping Vision alive since he is still dead, or she's being tested on by whatever group that is. That's my personal theory.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally down for that. I think either one of those theories would be awesome, if it were to come true. But jumping from that to Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, it is going to potentially birth one of the, if they do it right, best live action movies in a while, which would be the Spider-Man 3 opening the Spider-Verse. And, again, Tobey Maguire's asking for 15 million. Give it to him because you're going to make that tenfold in just people buying merch alone. I can guarantee that. I haven't heard much backlash from Andrew Garfield in regards to like acting in another movie. But if we can get the three of them on screen, I heard Sandman's going to come back. We're getting Willem Dafoe back. Like,
I don't know if it's true. I heard we're getting Sandman, William Dafoe. I heard Doc Ock is in talks of the guy that played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2 is in talks of a contract. We already have an Electro announced. So like they're really putting together. I'm wondering if they're going to use this to debut a Sinister Six.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it almost has to be. But for me, I think just opening up the multiverse and having the ability to sort of bring all those characters in. And again, these are characters from Sony originally, which still owns Venom. So if they're allowing these characters to happen, that means eventually Venom's going to be in this universe, which, I could go on for hours about that, but it's going to stem so many amazing movies and maybe series. Just bring it all together, crush it, knock it out of the park.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that they're possibly doing. The next thing that I had down was the What If series.
I was actually going to say the same thing.
For me, that I know that there's at least one episode that I'm super hyped for and I want to do. And it's actually funny because I was watching a video on YouTube when they first announced it. And when they flipped through the Marvel symbol, I think it's in like the top left-hand corner of the M in Marvel. You actually see like, they put like faded in as like actual cutouts from the comics.
Yeah.
Well, one of them was a zombie Captain America. So everybody was like, which I got hyped. And so for me, I know I'm going to be looking forward to that, but there's a lot that they could do in that show too.
Oh, absolutely. And I think that's one of the bigger things for me. Like the What If comic series was awesome. I want to see what they can do with the animated series as well. Obviously, we're probably not going to get Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., Samuel L. Jackson, etc. Maybe their likenesses, but definitely not, their voice acting, because that's going to cost billions to try to keep all those people in their characters. But if they do it right, it's going to go really well. I'm a huge fan of the What If comic series. So as long as it's done the correct way, I'm all for it. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do with that. And then while we're on the topic of like crazy things that potentially happen, Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania, this entire phase is basically like, let's see how fucked up we can get the entire multiverse. And I love it. We're talking, most of the movie's probably going to be in the quantum realm, jumping from either multiverse to multiverse, universe to maybe different times, because obviously you can time travel in there. So hopefully we'll unlock a little bit more with that. Paul Rudd, hilarious. So, that's never going to be a question from me.
Yeah, no. So one of the biggest things now, the show, we'll see how it plays out, but it just got me super interested in it. She-Hulk.
Okay.
Mainly because you heard about that contract, right?
I did not. No, I didn't hear specifics.
So they are Mark Ruffalo will reprise his role as the Hulk in episodes of it, and Tim Roth will be returning as Abomination.
Okay. I'm about
So
it.
yeah, and that's where it got me, because it's like She-Hulk. I was like, meh, and then they're like, well, we're bringing back Tim Roth. I was like, gah! Like my heart skipped a beat. So for
Yes,
me,
that's big news.
right. So I mean, I'm sure it's not going to be Hulk versus Abomination. Like Hulk will probably show up, Abomination will probably fight him, and then Hulk will have to go do something, and it'll be She-Hulk's problem to deal with. But that was a big one, and then Christian Bale being casted as the villain in Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay.
So the
Yeah,
dark
I
light
did
coming
see
to the
that.
Marvel universe.
They all do. They all do at some point. I mean, hell, Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, but
First
Ryan
Disney.
Reynolds never wanted to be in the DC universe.
No, but he follows the money, and I respect him making fun of it.
Hey, if I could, I would.
Oh yeah, I couldn't. That's the issue. So again, I feel like it's hard to get off this topic of multiverses. The Loki series.
Yep.
I mean, Christ, Loki is basically, a multiverse time traveling. I want to say like Men in Black agent. It looks like from the series. He sort of falls into the wrong hands. He personally does after the events of New York in Endgame with like the Tesseract. So that looks awesome. One scene I want to talk about in particular, it's Loki, standing, I guess, with New York in the background. You see Avengers Tower, everything is destroyed. I would like
That's
to believe that is the timeline in which Iron Man does not remove the nuclear weapon in time.
I've seen a couple people exploring that theory. So I mean, we'll see. For me, the one of the scenes, like one of the things that got me is it has Owen Wilson in it, and I really want it to be good. Like I really want him to do well, but like we all know Owen Wilson, like he gets typecasted. He's usually the same. Wow, like
Yep.
he puts the ow in wow. But no, I'm hoping that we can, because I feel like you said it's gonna be like a buddy cop series. So either they're gonna be partners or he's gonna be his boss or something like that. But nah, like Loki's one where he really intrigues me because you can literally do whatever you want with Loki, given his powers. Because at the end he says like, "Okay, Dad and brother, how you like me now?" And then he shows up. He's got the vote for Loki pin on.
Yeah.
So
And
it's like,
so I want to say that's after the events of New York, prior to, maybe him showing up at the champion of champions with Thor.
maybe.
It's not the contest of champions. I apologize, but sometime in between there, obviously, is what we're gonna have to look at, because we know it's after he picks up the Tesseract, he disappears, and that's where he goes. And then God knows when the hell he comes out, and who knows how long he was there, because again, the time travel concept is an interesting one, at least in the Marvel universe.
Right. And then two projects that I'm super excited about, which will lead me into my second fan theory that I'm coming up with, is Blade
Mm-hmm.
and Fantastic Four was announced.
I'm so glad Disney got Fantastic Four's rights.
So you have Matt Murdock getting ready to debut in the Spider-Man movie, I believe it was.
Yep.
They announced that. I think the Fantastic Four are actually going to be introduced in the Doctor Strange movie. I think that's how they're going to do their introduction, along with a couple of the X-Men. Not all of them, but that's going to lead into my next fan theory.
Shoot.
But you got the fan. I just want to see a Fantastic Four done well. Like I do. It's one of those, like, it's a running joke. Same thing with like emo Spider-Man from Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
Like it's they're just bad. I really want to get it in the right hands, and I feel like Disney's the one that can do it. So
I could not agree with you more. Honestly, like this Fantastic Four, pending on the casting, which Disney's never done a bad job of, do it right, knock it out. Let's get this shit going. Like, I want a good Fantastic Four. And I don't just want, shiny metal electric man. Like that was the shittiest Doctor Doom in the most recent Fantastic. Like I didn't like it. Not a fan. Bring me some. I know they don't have like a gallery of villains, but bring me some good shit. Like give me good. That's all I want. I don't even want great. Just give me good.
Right. And like I said, so obviously they're using one show to leapfrog to the next show to release and leapfrog to the next to the next.
Sure.
Well, they announced Secret Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And I can honestly say I haven't had a chance to read that comic line yet. However, I do know that one of these main characters, actually, give me 1 second. So the main characters of Secret Wars is the Avengers, obviously. So they could pull anybody from that group. The Fantastic Four, so they could pull anybody from that. Hulk, Doctor Doom, Magneto.
Okay.
So if we're getting a Fantastic Four movie and they're talking about releasing X-Men in the Doctor Strange one, Secret Wars could be the way to introduce the big bad to be either Magneto, because Magneto has comic lines where he literally demolishes all of the Avengers by himself, or same thing with Doctor Doom. And that's who's going to be your Thanos of Phase 4. It's going to be one of those two is my prediction. At least on Earth. They may do two. Like, I know Galactus has been in talk and the Silver Surfer, and those rumors have been running around. So there might be an intergalactic threat as well. That's where you'll get your Captain Marvel 2, you'll get your Guardians of the Galaxy 3, you'll get your Thor. But I feel like on Earth, one of the big, if not both, you're getting Magneto or Doctor Doom being the big bad in Phase 4.
Yes. And, in regards to Captain Marvel 2, we're getting the Miss Marvel series, which, for those of you that have played the Avengers video game, that's what it's about. It's based around the Miss Marvel character. I haven't done too much research on it. Honestly, I'm not super excited about it. Not that it doesn't, draw me in. It's just something I'm not too familiar with. So maybe this will be the kickstart that I need. I heard about some potential recasting for stuff in, Captain Marvel. We'll see. I don't think it's going to be Brie Larson. Disney doesn't seem to hate her entirely.
Well, no, I mean, at least on the panel, they said it will be Brie Larson.
Yeah, so and that's the thing, Secret Invasion, Secret Wars, like all of that's going to tie into pretty much everything with the Skrull. Nick Fury, he's going to come back in that. So what I like that Disney is doing is it's now, I feel like Charlie Day from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia trying to connect the goddamn dots. Like I'm sitting here with a friggin' whiteboard trying to string everything along as to who's connected to what and to who and to what other series and movie and cartoon. It's fantastic. It's nothing I can complain about, but it is a whole web of shit that I am more than excited for.
No, I'm right there with you. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of pretty good, and there's a very little amount that seems bad right off the bat. Now, mind you, we could both be wrong and everything could suck. I hope not, and I doubt it, but there's that possibility. But I'm amped. I mean, you got husky ass Thor now, since he's prepping to play freaking Hulk Hogan, which I think would be a hysterical multiverse Hulk Hogan. What if Hulk Hogan was Thor?
And a couple things that we haven't even touched on really that haven't even, I guess they were talked about. No deep information's been released on them yet. Moon Knight, the Hawkeye series, like those are two things that I would love to see brought to life. Obviously, Moon Knight's just a new character for the Scream, so that's awesome. Obviously, we know Clint Barton. We know, his daughter is eventually going to take over the mantle per the comics. So I'd like to see, their sort of on-screen, duo kind of battling it out with some bad guys, him training her to be the next Hawkeye, maybe.
Well, they hinted at that in Endgame.
Yes. So, Ironheart, the strongest suit of armor since Iron Man. You know, Armor Wars to even, again, like I said, everything is connected. They're bringing Don Cheadle back. Like, God damn it, I'm so excited. Let's go. Don Cheadle with your fucking animatronic legs. Kick some ass.
Craziest thing for me was out of all the trailers I've watched, I'm pretty sure I only saw one villain, and that was Baron Zemo in Winter Soldier or Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
And you know what? That is something that I love about Disney. You're giving me just enough to nibble on. I'm getting taste. It's the, you know, the palate cleansing that I need from some of the shit that you've done, and bring out the main course. Like, let's go. I want to eat. And this is from 2020 to 2024. I've got food for days. Like, give me the good shit. That's what I want. I want Disney to keep just, they're an amazing factory. They got the right formula. Just keep doing it.
Yep, that's where I'm at. I mean, keep Star Wars on the rise, keep the MCU where it's at. And I mean, their marketing team is ridiculously good. They know what to show you, what not to show you, and they leave you just enough to where you're like, right when they know when they got you.
Oh, yes. And, you know, based on every single, you know, Avengers team up movie that we've ever seen, they're going to lie to me, and I want it. I want them to lie to me. Tell me some shit that's not going to be there, and I'm okay with it.
Right. Like, I got to go back and rewatch it. But, like, when they did Civil War, they didn't show Spider-Man until that third trailer dropped.
Yeah.
Like, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, you see nothing of the suit in the first trailer. The second trailer, you only see, like, mid-chest up. But you can see it's, like, gray, blue, and red. Or, like, white, red, and blue. So you're like, oh, that might be just the top of the new suit. Now, there was apparently, I think it was Hasbro released a action figure that actually gave away what the suit's going to look like. But, yeah, they give you like just that little teaser. Just look, he's wearing a different suit, and it could be something else. It's not as red and maroon. It's not as maroon one.
Yes. And, you know, while we're on the topic of Captain America, Chris Evans, also in Disney, he's going to be playing Lightyear, Buzz Lightyear, in the new Lightyear series. It's an origin story. It's not the toy. For those of you that love Tim Allen, I know I do. It's going to be a young Lightyear, which is what the toy is based off of, you know, based off of the actual person, Buzz Aldrin. We'll see what's going on there. I am definitely looking forward to that as a Toy Story fan, but I think, you know, even bigger now that Chris Evans is going to voice that character.
Yeah, no, honestly, I didn't even hear about that, so I'll have to go look that up. But yeah,
it looks awesome. And I mean, I was just digging around, and this is something you might be excited for as well as a big hockey fan. Mighty Ducks Game Changers series.
So funny story. I saw a meme the other day, and it was like, let's give a huge shout out to Disney for rocking the dad bods, and it showed like Boba Fett because his suit looks a little bit tight on him in a couple scenes. And then it was Emilio Estevez.
Yes.
And he looks like he put on a little bit of weight. And then there was a third one, but I forget who it was. I was dying.
You know what though? Like, that's something that us, you know, 90s kids are like, I don't care if it's, as long as it's not like completely terrible, I'm probably going to watch it. Because I can, to this day, watch the Mighty Ducks movies from front to back and never get sick of them.
Oh, no, not at all. And I mean, honestly, I forget what it was. He did a Western movie with his brother Charlie Sheen that he was really good in too. I always forget which one it is. Young Guns, maybe. But either way, I mean, I'm really excited about that. But I don't know. I can't wait. January can't come soon enough because I'm intrigued with WandaVision and I want to check it out.
Yes. And another big thing for those of you that are paying a ton of money like I am for Hulu and Disney Plus and Netflix and HBO and all that other shit, Hulu and Disney are merging. Disney's prices are going up, which means they're probably trying to compensate for the fact that they're buying the corporation. and that's fine with me. I'll even pay premium for no damn commercials. I'm cool with that. Just give me all the good shit. Let's go. I can't say it enough. I am excited. Like you said earlier, Mark, I'm like a goddamn kid on Christmas. Like this is my, coup d'etat. Like I love this shit. Bring it on.
But yeah, no, that was pretty much everything I had. I don't know if there was any other Marvel stuff that you wanted to touch on or that you wanted to get into.
No, I just one thing, and Star Wars related. It's not even Marvel. For those of you, I mean, I can't say I'm not an anime fan because I've watched like Avatar and you know Pokemon growing up. Like I watched those shows, but Star Wars is actually coming out with an anime series. It's called Visions. It's a short film series. I haven't seen too much on it, but I did want to touch on that. So they are, I guess, sort of branching out of their comfort zone. So that's something I'm also going to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, anything animated out of Star Wars is always gold. Clone Wars was great. Rebels wasn't bad. The movie for Clone Wars was good. Trying to think, there was another one. I'm blanking, but yeah, anything that's been animated, honestly, that's come out of the Star Wars universe and Lucasfilms has been spot on. I've never had a complaint.
Yes. So there's a lot of stuff that we're going to be covering over the next 4 years. So buckle up. You've got to hear our voices for at least that long. I think I've covered everything. I'm ready to go, go to sleep until January when all this shit's going to start kicking off.
No, I mean, that's where I'm at with it. I can't wait. So, just so you guys know, feel free to tune in to our podcast. We are on, Steve, you can take this part.
So, you can check us out on Something Super on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor. We're on Apple Podcasts. Google us. We will be there, I promise. You can check us out on Facebook, Something Super. We are currently a page working on making a group for all of our potential fans. And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, somethingsuperpodcast@gmail.com. All right. I think that's everything. I think I've got it all covered. Guys, thank you so much for listening. I'm Steve.
And I'm Mark.
And we'll catch up with you guys next week.